We've all seen them on LinkedIn, right? These tech gurus with the perfect resumes, the amazing success stories. But what if that whole polished profile is just a digital front for a criminal operation? Well, today, we're pulling back the curtain on the tech superstars who are actually master scammers. So, on one hand, you see the public facing genius, the innovator, the founder, the person everyone kind of wants to be. But then, on the other hand, you see the hidden truth, a calculated criminal mind working from the shadows. It's really a tale of two different identities, all happening behind one screen. So you have to wonder, right? How do they even pull it off? How does someone juggle this public image of massive success while they're secretly running major crimes? Let's get into their playbook. Okay, first things first, the facade. See, before any scam can happen, there's the setup. It all kicks off with building this illusion of success that is so perfect, so believable, that nobody would ever think to question it. And they do it on platforms we all use, like LinkedIn, where they just carefully craft the perfect story. You'll see posts about prestigious internships, they'll show off their in-demand coding skills, and of course they sprinkle in plenty of photos from these exotic, luxurious vacations. Every single post is like another brick in this wall of legitimacy they're building. So, how does this actually play out in the real world? Let's crack open our first case file, the story of a woman they started calling the Phishing Queen. To everyone who saw her online, Safia Egamasi was a prodigy. I mean, she's only 25, a rising star in the tech world with a LinkedIn profile that just screamed success. But that profile, it was hiding a massive secret. Yeah, behind the scenes, authorities allege Safia was a major player in a huge fraud syndicate. And her alleged method? A classic phishing scam. But honestly, it was executed brilliantly. She's accused of building these fake websites, perfect copies of official U.S. government portals, to trick American citizens into just handing over their login details. And the scale of this thing was just enormous. All told, her syndicate is said to have stolen almost $1.3 million. And that's directly from the U.S. government. But that glamorous facade, it came crashing down when she was arrested at her home in New York. And now, the woman once called a tech queen is staring down a possible 2 decades in prison. All right, next up, we're shifting from phishing to a scam that was supposedly rooted in the earth itself, or at least that's what it looked like. This is the case of the agribusiness fraud. This is Ayodele Toyosi. He sold himself as this innovative founder of 2 agribusiness companies, and he was promising these incredibly lucrative investment opportunities to unsuspecting Nigerians. His scheme was, deceptively simple. He'd promise investors these huge returns on agribusiness ventures, collect all their money, and then allegedly just use it for his own personal luxuries. At one point, he's even accused of using 300 million naira, that's investor money, to buy a huge lavish property for himself. In total, he's accused of defrauding investors of a staggering 600 million naira plus another 50,000 US dollars on top of that. And his commitment to the lie was so deep that when the law finally caught up with him, he allegedly tried to fool the entire court with fake medical records. It was a pretty desperate move that totally backfired, and his bail was revoked on the spot. So our final case file takes a much more personal and maybe even more sinister turn. This is the story of the Crypto Romeo. Meet Charles Uche Nawa David. See, this guy didn't just want your money. He wanted your heart, too. He built this persona of a charming and successful real estate mogul, basically the perfect Prince Charming for the digital age. His method was just pure manipulation. It was a romance scam where he would get his victims to fall completely in love with him, earning their absolute total trust. And once he had that, he'd convince them to give him access to their accounts. And then, poof, he'd drain everything, using cryptocurrency to make the funds just vanish. And the financial damage he caused was just immense. He was ordered to repay $2.7 million to the people he manipulated. He was arrested after flying into the U.S. and was sentenced to 2 years in prison. And once he serves that time, he'll be deported. So there you have it. 3 very different scammers, 3 very different methods. But as we've just seen, it doesn't matter how perfect the online profile is. Every one of these stories shares the exact same ending. You've got the phishing queen, whose syndicate scam landed her a possible 20-year sentence. Then there's the agribusiness fraudster, whose investment scheme got his bail revoked. And finally, the Crypto Romeo, whose romance scam led straight to prison and deportation. The methods were totally different, but the outcome? Always the same. They got caught. And it really all boils down to one simple truth, which is put perfectly right here. Every scam has an end, and it usually ends in handcuffs and prison time. Which really leaves all of us with one final, crucial question. As you're scrolling through that endless feed of polished online personas, you have to ask yourself, in a world of perfect profiles, who do you really trust?